This conference will now be recorded.
USBC membership. So since it's being recorded, let me just go back one more time. This is August 30th, and welcome to the host committee debrief meeting. We will be debriefing the 2019 conference. And we have welcome from our CPC chairs who will be joining us in a little bit. Stephanie is running late, and Titina is on an assignment of facilitating the screening of chocolate milk. So we hope to do two things with this meeting is get some kind of shared understanding and meaning to the overall NBCC experience, and not just the educational part of it, but what did you think of the overall? How was the experience as a committee member in moderating sessions? Every aspect of the conference, the side events, the meetings, and also, how did it align with the theme? And then finally, we'd love to get your suggestions for that'll guide us to plan and design the 2020 NBCC, which is going to be in Scottsdale, Arizona. So we are very excited. And as you know, it's in June, so it's coming up pretty soon. Would someone like to read the community norms before we get into the introductions? Anyone?
Yeah, I can do it.
Ms. Wamba.
Community norms. Everyone participate fully and evenly. 3, listen well for deep understanding and respect. 4, be fully present and open to new learning. 5, speak your discomforts. 6, place tech on silent. Stay checked in. 7, sharing using I statements. And last, share responsibility for the success of the meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Wamba. And then moving on, we didn't know if we had many people, almost 35, going to be present on this, and we wanted to move this along, but feel free if your lines are open to say your name. So do we want to go down the list? I see Camille.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, Camille Abbey. I'm in beautiful Massachusetts this morning. Well, I'm always here, but that's where I am. It's beautiful. Good morning, everyone.
And your role at USBC, just in case.
Ah, yes. Events and PR manager at USBC. Thanks, Kinkini.
She makes the magic happen at the conference with so many logistics and our venue. Miriam?
With so many others.
Good morning, everyone. This is Miriam, the Coalition Relations Coordinator. Happy to be here with you all.
Adilene?
Good morning, everyone. Sorry, my voice. My name is Adilene Robinson, and I am the Member Relations and Administrative Coordinator, and I'm also happy to be here.
Welcome. Amelia?
Good morning, this is Amelia Pesmaiz. I'm the Interim Executive Director at USBC.
Welcome. Anna?
Hello, this is Ana Maria Linares. I'm here. Also, I have a beautiful day in Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky, and I'm so happy to be here.
Welcome, Anna, and it's nice that you're back in the
Yes,
US.
finally, I'm back in United States. I was for almost 5 months in South America, sharing with people there in a Fulbright, as a Fulbright scholar. So I'm so glad. Thank you.
Welcome. Carol?
Good morning. This is Carol McGowan from CDC.
Welcome, Carol. Cheryl?
Good morning, everyone. This is Cheryl with USBC. I'm the Senior Workplace Program Manager and Policy Analyst.
Welcome, Cheryl.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.
Danae?
Morning, everyone. My name is Danae Schmidt. I am the Member Relations and Operations Manager with USBC.
Welcome. Ifinwa?
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Ifeanyi Wasiadu. I am a member rep for APHA, American Public Health Association, and the California Breastfeeding Coalition, and am a member of the CRASH Committee.
Welcome, Ifinwa. Lourdes?
Hi, this is Lourdes Santavalla. I'm the Executive Director and co-founder of ASI, Alimentación Segura Infantil, which is a member organization. I'm also co-chair of the CRASH Committee, and the weather is bright and sunny.
Wonderful. So glad Dorian bypassed Puerto Rico, sending wishes to folks in Florida. Malia?
Good morning. This is Malia from Indigenous Women Rising in New Mexico. I hope everyone is feeling well this morning.
Welcome, Malia. Mary?
Good morning, Mary Reingard. I am a member rep from the National Association of Pediatric Nurse Practitioners, and I am in Gainesville, Florida, so we are in full hurricane prep mode right now.
Welcome. Hope it downgrades.
Me too.
Gosh. Muswamba?
I'm Muswamba Mwamba, calling from Dallas, Texas. I am representing Rose and Robe. I am involved in the engagement committee member and then also the nominating committee at USBC.
Welcome. Sarah?
Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Walls. I am USBC's Communications and Program Coordinator. I am calling from Chicago, where I think it's a pretty nice, coolish day, finally.
Welcome. Shiva?
Yes, my name is Treva Smith. I am from Kansas City. I am a board member of the Kansas Breastfeeding Coalition, as well as a member of the CRASH Committee.
Welcome, Treva. Anyone on the phone or anyone who hasn't had a chance to introduce yet?
Hi,
good morning.
Liz. You first.
Good morning. This is Mandy Marshall. I'm a member of the CRASH Committee.
Welcome.
Now I'll try. I'm Liz Brooks, calling from Philly, and I'm on the CRASH Committee. I'm the Havana rep, and I'm a membership committee in NOMS.
Wonderful. Welcome, Liz. Anyone else? Okay. So, and we're still waiting for Stephanie. I know that she has a teaching role, so we just wanted to say this is our conference program committee for 2019. And folks, if you can mute your lines, then we'll have a little less background sounds. Thank you. This is our USBC board, as you can see. Our CRASH committee, fabulous CRASH committee. And then our membership committee as well, and our staff team. So our theme was taking equity from theory to practice. And the overarching goals were to, this is our singular in-person event, the only one that the USBC hosts, and it's an in-person forum to hear what's happening in the field and to see where we are in implementing the Surgeon General's call to action, and much more than what's in the Surgeon General's call as well. And with the last 4 conferences, we've centered equity. So our proposals, the design process, as well as the proposals that we seek, all we hope have an equity element to it, either using that for internal guide of coalition building or program, but also a mirror for policy change, programmatic change. And then, of course, this is the one event that does a lot of work on policy systems changes. So again, our proposal reviewers are very intentional in selecting proposals that have a bigger underlying policy, a systems level transformation theme as well. And then most importantly, we provide a networking event for folks from state health departments, CBOs, community-based organizations, coalitions, national organizations to come together and explore ways in which that they can move their work forward through collaboration and co-creation. So some basic, our theme always underlying premise is learning, connecting, and acting, and we make sure that we combine learning with time for folks to network and connect, and then we also do some action. So this time we had our advocacy day before the conference. Usually we have it after the conference, and when we have it next year, when we have it off-site like we do, we usually do a policy training or some kind of element of advocacy that gears people up for National Breastfeeding Month. So this time we had a very successful advocacy day on Capitol Hill on June 12th. So big numbers. You've had the report we shared with you, the long report. 46 pages, all of the online evaluations, and then summary report, 4-page as well. So you can get the comments and greater detail of each section and overall through the report. So I hope you've had a chance to review that. We had 333 registered attendees. That's more than we've had in the last 3 years. 155 first-timers, so we're thrilled with that. 48 states, plus DC, Puerto Rico, Samoa, and also 1 attendee from Canada. And as you can see, our numbers of our diversity is really improving with every single conference, and this time we had of 143 stakeholders, participants of color, and you can see the breakup. Black, non-Hispanic, 87, thanks to our award program that we have, the Tribal Trailblazers, and we had a few more too. So we had American Indian, Alaska Native, 12. Native representatives. We had 24 from the Latinx community. For the first time ever, we've had 8 from the Asian American Pacific Islander group, and there were so many of 8, all different subcultures within the 8 AAPI group. We had Native Hawaiian, who was also one of our award winners, and then Amber, and then 11 who said mixed races, and then we had 153 white non-Hispanic. So pretty mixed with our coalition, as the 50% was coalition representatives, 25% were members, and of members, now that we have coalition members, it was mixed with coalition and national nonprofit and other organizations. Our open attendees also pretty much span folks from academia, coalitions, national organizations. So the open attendees are pretty mixed group. WIC, we had pretty much similar to last year, about 5-6% of our of the group is always WIC, and then our sponsors and exhibitors were we had about 18 sponsors and exhibitors. And Camille, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Was that 18?
That sounds about right.
Okay. And so with these, numbers, we just want to get started on our reflections. So Camille, do you want to take on this session? I'm texting with Stephanie. I don't think she's on yet.
Sure, I'm happy to. So we really wanted to have a lot of our time today be dedicated to reflection and having an opportunity for you all to discuss and group share, and for us to all participate together about what we really felt, experienced, and our sort of how we reflect back on the NBCC. So this is our first of basically 4 or 5 questions in this arena. And so we wanted to just start with asking, what, if you'd like to share one thing, if you have more than one that are very strong, one thing that you consider to be a strong feature or a highlight of the NBCC that we should continue as we step towards next year.
Don't be shy, and if your lines are muted, please be sure to unmute your lines.
I can also keep watch on the chat box if you feel more comfortable chatting in an idea. I'll share one just to get things going. For me personally, it was a new endeavor for this past year. I think the speed networking was so powerful, just to have opportunity for brief conversation with folks that I might not have had opportunity to talk with and learn from. And for me, that was very powerful. I think it has room for evolution and growth and change, but I think for me, it was a highlight that we should continue.
This is Cheryl. I think one of the big highlights for me was the switches that we made around our Advocacy Day prep, and really taking more intention around connecting supporters with each other who were from the same state, and helping them coordinate the meetings in a little bit more of a hands-on sort of way. And it seemed like the payoff was really strong, and I look forward to continuing to build on that in future years.
This is Treva. What I enjoyed, or what stood out most for me, is the community efforts, that the different community efforts towards breastfeeding, the peer sharing and things like that. One of the sessions that I went to had to do with breastfeeding in the prisons, moms being able to pump. And I just thought that was incredibly powerful and out of the box type of thinking. And I think if we can continue to support things like that, that would be fantastic.
Sarah, that is almost what I was going to say, Truva. I think that one major highlight for me was definitely the robe presentation, and how that really highlighted so much of like the strength of community programs and filling a gap of supporting fathers and including fathers in conversation. That just was an incredibly powerful and really great panel. And another feature, just not to do two, but I apologize, Kinkini. But another great highlight that I wanted to lift up too was offering continuing education for the first time at our conference. Hopefully that will be, we plan to continue it obviously, but hopefully it'll be a great way to get folks to be able to come to the conference, whether it's being supported by their work or supported by education funds, to be able to offer that. I think hopefully we'll continue to grow our registration numbers and grow our like really great registration group.
This is Kinkini. The awardees at the award ceremony is always such a profound time, and I love the cohort of awardees was even bigger this year because we added a new category. So it was really great to see the diversity of the award pool as well. And I have to give a shout out to Charity Blackwell, our opening spoken word poetess. She was fantastic.
This is Lourdes. Really, everybody's saying the things that I like. I love the opening, like the local stuff. So I love the poet, the spoken word. I love the drum group. I always honoring the native land. And then yeah, I was blown away. It was an excellent closing, the robe panel.
This is Danae. I really love this year that a lot of our plenaries came from our network, which is something we haven't done in the past. We've had maybe one or two, but most of our plenaries came from our network. We know many people attend so that they can glean wisdom from each other, and so often you're kind of forced to choose between a lot of amazing panels, and so it was really nice that a lot of our plenaries came from the network and from the community. So I really love that.
Any other folks would like to share a highlight or a strong feature that resonates for you? Just want to give ample time for everyone. If not, we'll.
This is Liz on the phone. I loved the juxtaposition isn't the right word. The compatibility of having Stephanie's presentation talking about inclusive care and how we have to remember that breastfeeding and lactation involves a lot more people and a lot more families than those who self-identify as mothers, followed immediately by the incredible robe panel. It just really reinforced this message that, breastfeeding is not just something one little person does sitting in a rocking chair with one little baby. It takes everybody, and an inclusive approach to care and support is as important as drilling down to what it is any particular individual new parent needs. But those two things back to back were just a beautiful synergy. That's it, synergy.
Camille, is your line muted?
It was just allowing a little extra time, but I think it sounds like we're ready to move to the next slide. Kinkini?
Yes.
Thank you all for those really, I really appreciate those reflections, because it's so interesting to hear folks, just the things that we carry with us. And I mean, every single thing everyone said is just, I was like, oh yes, oh yes. So thank you for bringing us back to all of these highlights, and that segues us right into something that are things that we'd like to change or improve for the next convening. There's always points of growth. We are never thinking we've got it right. We are learning and growing, and I think improving year to year. But we definitely welcome all of the feedback that you might offer about what we could change or improve for the next convening.
Hi, this is Mary. First of all, full disclosure, I had a commitment at home, so I was only there for the meeting and the regional meetings in the evening. So I'm going to talk about the regional meeting part of it. I agree with the person who wrote in their review that this meeting was too short, and I know that everything is everything takes a lot of time at this meeting, but man, you know, we just did not have enough time to really connect and talk about plans going forward. And I see those folks, even from my own state, so infrequently that it would have been nice to have a little bit more time, maybe a little bit more of a some sort of structure to that meeting, because all we did was really get around the room and introduce ourselves.
Thank you, Mary. That's really good feedback, and we've heard that, and we probably will need to extend it. We know that we've got to give folks enough of a dinner time, but if it's not serving the purpose adequately beyond introductions, then we definitely need to. And there are different groups. Some groups are smaller, some regional groups are smaller, and some are bigger. And so often, if it's a big group, 45 minutes is not enough. So thank you for that. We did read that. This is Kinkini. I definitely think we need to kind of work out how we can keep to time, and how, you know, we were running over pretty much on all of the sessions, whether it was the award ceremony or others. So just how do we buffer in? Do we pack things less? But definitely from the design point of view, there were, timekeeping is something that we want to make sure, we want to see how we can improve that, because we want to make sure that folks get enough of a break, there's enough time to visit the posters. So still working on the design aspect of breaks versus transitions.
This is Sarah. On the subject of time as well, I think that something that's always on my mind is striking that balance between, you know, having a full conference day and having a long conference day. And so I think I'm always, I think as a team too, we're always thinking about kind of, you know, giving our attendees, you know, all of the time that they need together for learning and connecting. And so I think what's on my mind is kind of like thinking about how we can structure the time to see if there are different ways that can kind of continue to keep our attendees energized or break up the long days of sort of podium learning versus like interpersonal learning, and just kind of thinking about how we can continue to improve that going forward.
I can add something. I think 45 minutes to 1 hour could be enough if we had someone who was guiding the regions, because many people sat together and then nobody was leading, and people start just introducing themselves, and some people have more experience at sharing, and then they took 20 minutes sharing their own excitement. And then after that, nobody has time to talk. But if we have like a sort of moderator, somebody know in advance that I'm gonna go to represent Texas or tribe, and we'll just make everybody introduce themselves for 1 minute and then say something for 2 minutes. I think the time could be well managed because there is like a purpose, there's like a leading. Of course, everybody like to share everything, but just this will be a way to start connecting. All the connection will not be done in 45 minutes. At least some interest will be done at that table that will hopefully continue.
Thank you. That's helpful. One thing that we did with the host committee this time was set up a sign up genius, and we had folks signed up for each of the regional meetings. We had two members of the host committee co-facilitating each of the regional meetings, but we did not have, unlike the moderator sessions for any of the sharing sessions or plenary, where the moderators had a little bit more structure in introducing and doing that. For the regional meeting, we did not provide um, any guidance to the members of the host committee who signed up to do that, and we should possibly have like a more facilitated group discussion or networking structure for that. So thank you.
Would anyone else like to share any thoughts, improvements, suggestions?
The networking room needed to be in a room with better acoustics. That's just like a slight thing. But it was a really good thing. We need to have karaoke or some kind of dance at a conference. I think that's really important. Yeah. And yeah, there were a few times where it felt long. And I don't know how we can build in more breaks, but I think I noticed one specific part, and maybe because the panel had a little bit of dry content, but that it also coincided with it had been a very full program, that people were just kind of a little bit burnt out and all started gathering in the meeting hall as opposed to as many people present.
Thank you for that. Yeah, we didn't do a movie this time, and still it was still long days. Yes, and we started an hour late than we usually do, and it still is.
Maybe conferences are just long, and everybody has to figure out how to muddle through it. But that's why karaoke would be really helpful.
We hear you. We hear you.
I'm gonna keep this one up.
I have to say I agree with you. I'm not so much with karaoke, but I like the idea of dance or movement because, dances, it's so fun to dance and, see people in a casual way that you might, you love their work and you respect them so much and your, colleagues, but just to literally let your hair down and have a dance it can be so much fun. So I'm right there with you. It's on my list.
And
this is Nandi.
Nandi.
Sorry.
Please go ahead, Nandi.
Okay. I did want to piggyback off of including the dance breaks. I think that's good to kind of get people's blood flowing and help them pay attention. The other suggestion that I wanted to make, I'm not even sure if this is possible, but during like the identity caucus, we needed a lot more time, and we also needed a bigger space for our rooms. Our room particularly was really packed. We had people sitting on the floor, and I don't know that we even expected that many people to come to that one, but it was a great session. I just think our time got away from us. So if there's a way to kind of increase time for that too, even if it runs into something else that might be an optional activity if people want to stay longer or not, but just trying to find a way that we have some additional bonding time, because I think our session was extremely helpful for all the attendees, and definitely something that I would want to be able to build on in the future.
Thank you, Nandi. That's really valuable. We need to, it's wonderful that more people are going to the Identity Caucus spaces, and our Black Identity Caucus space has always been rich and full. So making sure that we did allocate space big enough for each of those groups is helpful.
This is very helpful feedback. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. If anything else comes up, of course, feel free to chat it or we can circle back. I'd like to move on to the next, just keeping an eye on our time. Our next topic is about any items that we'd like to take out of the event. So it's not even just changing or improving. We're just, full on getting rid of things. That's how we can really make some change. So is there anything that came to mind that we could just, it's unhelpful or it's harmful or things that we could consider discontinuing?
This is Nandi again. I think one thing that's awesome to continue was the food options. I really wanted to commend you all because I feel like there was something for everybody, and I think that that was really important, and everyone felt that their needs were represented. So I wanted to definitely give kudos on the types of food and the healthy options and just the variety.
Thank you, Nandi. I have to say thank you. I appreciate that. Let me try.
Now, I wonder from 2006 to now, did anything that you were doing before get canceled or discontinued, or you just get creative every year, you're adding something new? Because this question, I don't know how to answer it because I'm looking at the numbers. Half of the attendees were new, so everything was new to them, the structure, the topic, maybe the location, and so on. So I have to ask the people who have seen that for a long time to see what was unhelpful and unnecessary before, because I don't see everything was original for many people. It was different even for me. I was at different conferences. This was not a conference like I want to attended before. Everything was just different chemistry and different synergy, like Liz said.
Mm-hmm. I think, yeah, that's helpful, Ms. Wamba. Right, it can be a fresh experience, but sometimes folks might experience something, even if it's new, they might not like it. It might not feel right. For example, I'll give an example from the past. One year we had our award ceremony at the end of an event. I think that was in 16. And folks were really stressed and felt terrible because they had to leave during the amazing award ceremony. And so, they were missing hearing folks talk, but they had to go to the airport. And so we made a very intentional shift towards like just not having that event at the end, right? So it comes earlier in the day. It's been at lunch. We've now played with a breakfast and a 2-day format. So just moving things. I mean, that's not a, it was a formatting thing. We're obviously very wanting to keep the event itself, but just moving the time around was something we really learned from and have done. So things like that. And we've already gotten, in my opinion, we've gotten some good change advice. Having more time for certain events, I think, is really important to know what's important to folks. So I haven't heard anything like that's been a big pain point or anything to get rid of yet, but I think it's important to just allow for that possibility as we grow. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you think, we move the table topics from breakfast to lunchtime because people said that 7 o'clock coming in for breakfast and doing that was too hard for folks to start that early, and then people would had submitted proposals would be sitting at their tables and very few people would show up. And this time we did it during lunchtime. It did get a little kind of chaotic for folks too, and we had done an extended lunchtime so folks could go to the buffet get their food, have 45 minutes to eat, and then the next 45 minutes was for table topics. But I'd like to get some, if any of you were participated in one or hosted a table, how did that go during lunchtime and what did you feel?
This is Liz. I participated in a table topic as an attendee. Having it at lunchtime gives you more people, but you're also then battling with the dynamics of, you know, how people identify and stake their space in a conference. So like, you know, when you come in the morning and you've got your computer and your laptop and you're this, you're that, and the other, and you're anticipating sort of being in the big room, you know, now to suddenly find that a whole bunch of people are swarming your table. And we just had people come back and sit at our table talk, not really even understanding that there was a table talk. They just had been sitting there earlier in the day, and I didn't feel like moving out of their stuff. So, you know, it's a minor little thing that we're talking about, but when you have a short space of time, people are trickling out, people are trickling in, and you do have people that have done a lovely job of preparing an honest to God talk with honest to God handouts and things. It you know, when there's so much of this movement activity associated with it, it's a little bit distracting. I think 7 o'clock in the morning is a little bit early for a table talk, but I think 7:30 might be a nice. You might have to shave the time that you're giving the table, but that is a realistic time to expect that people have gotten their breakfast and now have come in and have sit down, and to allow the speaker to start the conversation.
Thank you, Liz.
This is Treva. I did attend the table talk as well during lunch. I think our table talk went well. I feel like maybe listening to some of the other issues of people, you know, just sitting back at their regular spot, and is maybe if there's a different space, and I know that could be costly, but like the tabletop area, and then you go back to the main area for your, you know, other conference stuff, but maybe like have a different tabletop area. But I thought that lunch space was pretty good at that time versus the early morning. I don't know, that's just me personally. It's a time for sharing anyway. I mean, lunch seems like a good fellowship sharing time, so I don't know.
Thank you.
This is Lourdes, and thinking about what Liz was saying, and the fact I actually didn't move to a table talk because I liked my table, and I think you did it, but maybe even if somebody like very commanding or somebody took a more not a mean role, but just a little bit firmer and said, okay, we need now everybody to get up, or make the announcement before lunch, even saying it's really important that you not be sitting at lunch to socialize. Please choose your table. Maybe the ushers, since it isn't, there's like, I'm sorry, because I went to 2 conferences this year, so I don't remember, but there's like a buffet line, right? Right. There could be people at the buffet line who say, don't forget when you go sit that you're going to a table talk, that you're not just going to sit with at the same table, and make the announcement before break. Then maybe it'll work better. Because I just do think that, like, you know, I felt like the breakfast table talks were never very effective because of the hour.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's feedback we've had as well. Thanks, Lourdes.
Sorry, so this is Malia. I just wanted to also agree with the time and the morning breakout sessions, just because y'all's 7:30 is my 5:30 here in New Mexico. So maybe the jet lag for some people, and if they're attending for the first time, kind of throws them off, you know. So especially if people are flying in the night before, just for the conference and the sessions, they don't get too much sleep. So maybe that's also something we could consider too.
Thank you. Yeah, that was one of our reasons for getting rid of breakfast table topics and starting the event a little bit later. just to have a gentler start, and knowing that it's still even 8:30 is early for our West Coast or mountain folks, and certainly for those folks traveling from Hawaii or Samoa, everything's topsy-turvy. So yeah, we are definitely keeping that in mind. Thank you.
And we'll make sure to make more announcements and promote those and talk about the table numbers and their topics. So that would be helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we have a few ideas for solutions for that. It's sometimes just a matter of shifting the schedule so folks enter the room right to lunch from a breakout. So you've already got all your things with you, right? So if you're told, reminded at the lunch line, and then you enter the room and there's a thing on the screen and it shows that you're going to a table topic and everything has numbers. It changes it rather than having it be getting up from the room and going out for buffet and then coming back. So I think that might be the simpler solution for a lot of the things that were brought up. But we'll give that some more thought. Shall we move to any other topics that were either unhelpful or it seems like we may have exhausted that category, and we can shift towards the next question. Excellent. Let's go ahead and do that. The next question that we have is looking ahead to any, I think we also wanted to just make sure we didn't have any reparations. Is that right, Kinkini? If we didn't, I don't know if that's, okay, yeah. Here.
Yeah, that comes later. So we did, what should we continue? What should we tweak? And then this is our next is what should we stop doing was the last one. And then is there anything that we are not doing that you've seen at other conferences that you would love the NBCC to be doing, a new thing that we should start?
This is Lourdes. If I'm not confused, at the first USBC conference that we had, maybe it wasn't USBC, I go to so many conferences, we actually between different sessions had somebody, like besides the healthy food choices, we had somebody stand up and create or have us, create conscious movement in between. Was that at USBC or am I making this up?
We did have physical activity breaks.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that was great. And then besides that, the karaoke. Just bear with me. I'm going to be funny always. But anyway. But I think that I remember that we did that, and I think it's very effective because people do just get tired. And of course being conscious, because there's a few people who attend who have mobility issues in the way that that's presented. But that was very effective when I did that, whenever it was.
Thank you, Lourdes. I like that. Bringing folks back into the body space, the breath is very important. I agree.
So can you follow me? Unmute it.
Nope, we hear you, Ms. Wamba.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just an idea. Instead of introducing when everybody comes in the morning, when everybody's kind of shy, doesn't know anybody. So we start with something fun, music, drum, karaoke, whatever. And then we're going to break it at noon and start introducing everybody just the session before we go to regions, things like that, instead of the first thing in the morning. Just a proposition.
Mm-hmm. Like that.
Thank you. Should we move
Hi,
on? Oh,
This is Ana Maria Linares. I don't know. I was not in the conference. I'm sorry. I was in my Fulbright in Peru. So I hope next year is going to be the year where I'm going to be able to go. I don't know if you use those apps that now they're really common sometime in conference, and they can help you to connect with other people and also to go to different meetings without losing yourself, because sometimes it's difficult to follow up all those meetings. But the best thing is that you can connect with other people and also have like a place where everybody can chat or have a meetings, or probably go out during the night or things like that. So it's just an idea. Probably, I don't know if you really use it or not.
We do. Thanks, Anna Maria. Yeah, it's our second year of using the guidebook app. And so we promoted in our pre-conference event to get folks started to connect even before they arrive, and to be able to access handouts and things like that. And as you said, network and make dinner plans and follow up afterwards. So that is an app that we plan on continuing to use going forward.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you next year, Anna.
Thank you.
We missed you.
Well, we're always open. If folks have an idea or go to an event and it's something you love, obviously the idea being that it can't take up a terribly long amount of time, because we've just come up with a few different ways and events we want to lengthen while bearing in mind the length of the day. So always, feeling that tension point and working and being creative with our scheduling. So if you think of anything while you're at any events, please reach out anytime. Pop a note and email. Any one of us is happy to receive your feedback and your ideas. So please, that door is very open, and we hope to hear from you anytime. Wrapping up, our next slide is about, and our next question is, if someone you know, anyone you witnessed, or you feel any topics came up that need resolution or reparations from the event, if they've, even if you didn't hear about them right at the event, but maybe later, anything that we should become aware of that we might not already know about would be helpful. I can share one idea. Amelia chatted, just for folks who might be on the phone. We learned this from the California Breastfeeding Coalition, a webinar that they presented. One of their ideas, and one of the things that they do, is they have sofa and soft seating, so kind of like Oprah style setups on the stage at certain times, and it works really well for certain types of panels, rather than just the kind of table and chairs. And so we really love that. When we learned that, we found it was just, it's just such a great thing, and it's something that we can certainly do, again, depending on the size and scale of the panel and the topic, obviously. But I think that's something we definitely have our sights on for the future. And Mary also is seconding that from a recent NAPNAP conference. I'm so glad to hear.
I agree. I think if the conversation that Andrea and Erica Stallings had, our keynote speaker, if they had been sitting in chairs rather than in that long panel table, which was hard to, it was just before the, group panel plenary. So, but that would have been better. So keeping that in mind. Okay, well, thank you all for the great input. If you've had a chance to review the report, what we usually do is that we have the online responses from our attendees, and then we gather the feedback that has come through the membership meeting. Through Crash already did a little bit of a debrief immediately after the conference, and then what we got from the host committee, and we distill that into a report that we use for our internal staff use and for the CPC to plan the next conference. And then we also use some of these quotes or some of your suggestions in our annual report or other reports that we write for our grant reporting as well. So this, having input from you all, is super helpful. If there were anything about moderator sessions, the sessions that you were all involved in that you feel we could do better. Hello, Emily. I just see Emily is on. Welcome, Emily. We're finishing early, and we had a good discussion.
I'm sure. I'm so sorry to miss it.
No worries. I'm glad you're spending time with your parents. But if there's anything that's specifically for the task that you were asked that you'd like us to change, even if you want to send us an email and things that worked for you, or that you'd like us to tweak for next time around, because your role as host committee is so crucial, so crucial. You hold and shape the space along with the conference program committee and the staff folks, and you really create the vibe at this over these 3 days. So if there are things that you, especially in your roles that you signed up for, that we could improve, please let us know. And thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful Labor Day weekend.
Thank you so much for taking the time, everyone. We appreciate all of your
Thanks,
input.
folks.
Before.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day. Bye.
Take care.
Thank you. You guys have a good day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.